On April 16th, 2019, the Columbus Blue Jackets completed their sweep of the top-seeded Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This was shocking. The Lightning were a powerhouse team, chosen by several to win it all. Losing was within the realm of possibility, sure, but not even winning a single game? In sports, a sweep, a complete victory in which you win every single game, is one of the most impressive feats you can pull off. It's not just beating another team. It's dominating them to the point that they essentially have no chance. We've sort of seen sweeps in climbing before. You had Natalia Grossman flashing every boulder at Salt Lake City and Andra's strong 2014 season, but in general, World Cup seasons tend to be too long, too varied, and just too random for the idea of a clean sweep to be possible. That is, until Janja Garnbret came along. When she burst onto the scene in 2016, Janja was like nothing the climbing world had ever seen. She was some type of new force, a completely different breed of climber, and she quickly launched herself into the conversation of the best climber alive at the perfect time. The Olympics were looming, more eyes than ever were on the sport, and everyone was waiting to see who would be climbing's first gold medalist, and Janja responded with the single most impressive feat I think we've ever seen on the competition climbing circuit. Today, we're going to run through the 2019 bouldering season to see exactly how Janja Garnbret established herself as the greatest competition climber ever. We're going to look at the competitions, the routes, the other climbers, and how, in the end, it all came down to Janja Garnbret on the final boulder at Vail with one route between her and a clean season sweep. Hey guys, welcome to Retrospective, where we run through some of the best climbing moments of the past. Today we're looking at Janja's 2019 season, which to me was just completely dominant in a way we've never seen before, and I just wanted to go through it from start to finish. It started in Myrigin with actually a bit of a hiccup. Janja had some really clever climbing on the opening move of this boulder, but then she fell 3 times in a row off the top when her foot wouldn't stick. Akio Noguchi and Shauna Coxey both got the top, and Janja headed into Women's 2 in 3rd place. Again, she had a bit of a false start on Women's 2 when she got kind of ambitious with this dyno, but she read it right on the second go and topped the boulder to keep up. Akio, climbing after her, didn't like this jump at all. Instead, she did this crazy split move that was amazing to watch but didn't work out. That put Janja in first, although Shauna Coxey was right behind her with the same amount of tops and just 1 spot lower because of countback. Women's 3 was the perfect Janja boulder. Overhung, pumpy, and slightly dynamic, she cruised the moves to get the flash and put herself back in contention. Coxey also flashed the boulder though, and the two of them were in lockstep heading into the final route. Shauna came out first, and she failed to top Women's 4, so going into the last boulder, the competition was in Janja's hands. She missed this dynamic move on her first go, but she got it on the second attempt because that's what Janja does. The top was also tricky, but she pulled some incredible beta to finish it off, sending the boulder in 3 goes and locking up the gold medal. Her 2019 season was off to a perfect start. After that, Janja took off, and she wouldn't fail to top another boulder for the next 4 competitions. She had 4 flashes in Moscow, 4 tops in 8 attempts in Chongqing, 4 tops in 5 attempts in Wuzhang, 4 tops in 5 attempts in Munich. Now, the numbers speak for themselves, but I just want to point out how completely ridiculous this is. We've never ever seen someone climb this well. She completely broke the system. Route setters basically had to choose. Either set a hard final where your 8th to 4th best climbers wouldn't top anything, or set an easier final and watch Janja float up all of your boulders like she wasn't really trying. It wasn't even like she had no competition either. The women's bouldering field in 2019 was stacked. You had Akio Noguchi, one of the most decorated competition climbers ever. Miho Nonaka, although dealing with some shoulder injuries, was coming off an insanely impressive 2018 season and was still climbing at a world-class level. Shauna Coxey and Fanny Gibert are always threats, Ai Mori was making some noise, and young up-and-comer Natalia Grossman was starting to look like a real source of competition, and Janja was just a level above all of them. By this time, people had started to notice the insane season that she was having, and the hype was building. When the Olympics were on the horizon and the first qualifiers coming up, people wanted to see just how far she could take it. Would the bright lights of Hachioji make her falter? Could she sweep the entire season? Was that even possible? We would get the answer when the World Cup crossed the pond and headed to Vale. Going into this competition, Janja had looked utterly unbeatable, and then all of a sudden we kind of saw her falter. First, she failed to top one of the boulders in the semifinals, meaning that she qualified in second place behind Fanny Gibert. This obviously wasn't a massive deal, but then the final started and she just looked rough. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but she wasn't climbing at the level that she normally does. This slip was just sloppy, and these jumps are the types of things that we usually see her cruise, but nothing just seemed to be clicking for her. Worse, everyone else was locked in, with Akio in particular looking like she was doing everything she could to stop Janja's rampage. Heading into Boulder 3, Garnbret was actually in third place, and Akio had looked very strong with 2 tops in 3 attempts. If Akiho or Miho got the third boulder, it would have really put the pressure on Janja, and there was nothing she could do about it. Boulder 3 was this long, complicated problem with a tough finish, and you could only count on getting 2 or 3 attempts before time ran out. Akio climbed well, again using some great flexibility to work her way over to the zone. She then locked in this toe hook, lined up the top, and then just missed sticking the last move, and all of a sudden, Janja had a window. Garnbret cruised the lower section, but then she took a kind of ugly fall at the top. On her second attempt, she just levered herself in between these 2 holds, sticking the move and getting the top to move her into first place. Gold was in sight, but it looked like her shoulder was bothering her, and there was still a chance for someone else to steal the competition if Janja didn't get the final boulder. Women's 4 was this brutal, ultra-physical route that must have felt awful after a full day of competing. No one else was able to touch it until Akio Noguchi came along, and even she struggled to make any progress on it until, with the clock running down, she battled through this move to secure the top, and now the pressure was back on Janja. Noguchi now had 3 tops and 4 zones in 5 attempts. Janja needed a top if she was going to win the competition, and with her shoulder clearly bugging her, there was no guarantee how many tries she would get on this ultra-burly route. So, after 6 competitions, more than 90 boulders, and her fair share of struggles in Vale, the entire season had come down to this. Janja Garnbret looking to complete the first ever sweep in climbing history with 1 boulder between her and the gold medal. What do you think she does?
Top so far. If she can top this boulder, which Akio Noguchi has just topped, she will win the Vale World Cup. She will complete the clean sweep. She will have won all 6 World Cups in 2019. Attempt number 1 underway for Janja. Up to the pocket. If she is having trouble with that left shoulder, she may get found out now. No problem crossing through. And she goes for the Akio method of getting the foot high, the right foot. Janja Garnbret slapping out with the right hand and the left. Janja Garnbret's heading for the top in Vale. She's heading for the history books. She's clean swept the season. Janja Garnbret has won every Boulder World Cup in 2019. It's never been done before. She's been made to work for it, but every time she finds a way. First woman to win World Cup seasons in 2 disciplines. First woman to win World Championships in 2 seasons. And now the first climber in the history of the sport to clean sweep a season. There are some records out there that she still hasn't broken, but she's coming for them. Janja Garnbret is going to take this sport to places we can barely imagine. She is 20 years old and she is redefining what is possible.
And that was that. Janja flashed the final boulder to secure the gold medal at Vale and sweep 6 World Cups in the 2019 season. I mean, just look at how happy she is and look at the standing ovation from the other climbers. I don't even have anything to say here. This is hands down one of my favorite competition moments ever. The thing that really gets me about this boulder though is just how confident Janja was when she climbed it. Like I said, all competitions she'd seemed a little off and maybe favoring her left shoulder. On this final boulder though, she just went for it. Look at the double toe hooks on the starting hold before she got the zone and then did what Janja does. Blast through these moves with her power and dynamism, sticking the hold and topping the route to cap off her historic season. Janja would carry this momentum into the Hachioji Olympic qualifiers where she put on a statement win. She won the combined defend, beat So Chae-eun out for the gold medal in lead, and then won bouldering to lock up the season title, once again coming in clutch on the 4th boulder to secure first place. Now, she's obviously done some incredible stuff since 2019, but this will always be one of my favorite Janja Garnbret moments. The struggle at the beginning of the competition, Akio fighting to put the pressure on her, the dynamism and confidence and the reaction when she won. It was the perfect finish to what I truly believe is one of the greatest climbing achievements ever. I really mean that when I say it too. This is one of the most impressive things we've ever seen a rock climber do. In this sport, you're allowed to make mistakes. Consistently isn't always the most important thing, and you can have bad days and still go back because the route will always be there. For Janja to do this in such a dominant fashion though was just unprecedented. She climbed so many boulders in varying styles and at different times against the best competitors in the world, and she always came out on top. It was like nothing we've ever seen before. Andra, Hill, Sharma, none of these climbers ever put together the type of consistency that Janja showed in her 2019 bouldering season, and that is how Janja Garnbret cemented herself as the greatest competition climber of all time.